What is going on, guys? This is Versus All Gaming with my review of Noragami episode 10. And this episode right here, I definitely enjoyed it a lot. I am glad that we're finally seeing a new side to Yukine because it's about time that this happened. So the episode, it starts off with us in the shop that's run by Kofuku and Dagaku. And we see now that Yukine, he is definitely doing a lot of work. He was cleaning up. And not only that, but he was also cooking. And we see now that Dagaku, we actually learned that Yukine here, he actually now has a part-time job. So that right there is really awesome. And of course, Dagaku here, he pointed out that, Yukine has definitely changed. And we see now that Yato here, he was just like staring at him like he was a fangirl. But it was just hilarious the way that these two are now. And I'm glad that they're no longer bickering. But when they do bicker, it's more than in a fun way than a serious way. That right there, I'm definitely enjoying a lot more in the series. And so now we have Hiyori that's now showing up. And apparently Yukine want to ask her for a favor. But apparently now it didn't matter. But the Dagaku here still tells her what it is. And we learn that because Yukine is moving to a new class, she won't need her old books anymore. And so rather than tossing them out or, keeping them in storage, Yukine actually, wants to take them and learn. So even though, he can't go to school, he still wants to get an education. And that right there is amazing. I am glad at how much a character is developing. And I'm glad that we're seeing this new side to him. It's incredible. And so, of course, by him having this new attitude, it's like brought a tear to Hiyori and Yato's eyes. And it was just hilarious, the way that it was just letting the waterworks go over him. But we have Kofuku who actually shows up, and apparently she actually charging Hiyori for helping him out. And rather than charging, 5 yen like Yato, she charges 5 million per job. And so now, because she helped him out twice, Hiyori actually owes her 10 million yen. But apparently, she has this discount for students where it's 90%. So she only owes her, 1 million yen. And so, of course, now, she gets pretty upset. And she gets very angry and she attacks Yato. And she was like really upset because not only had he still not helped her out yet, but it was mainly because he also still had to, help get her body right. So now they have gone to Tenjin, who we all know as another god that could possibly help them. And we actually learned that there's a girl that's no longer with them. I believe her name was Miyu. But we actually get into this little argument between Tenjin and Yato. And it was more about, the importance of a regalia and the features they must have. I believe that the Tenjin called it the 3 C's, while Yato called it the 4 C's. Like, each one of them had like a different value for regalia. But now we get Mayu, whose character has definitely also developed because she's no longer that chauffeur's girl that we saw in the first episode. She is now a pretty important character, but she was talking with Yukine and Hiyori. And that's what we learn about Miyu, because apparently, the same thing that Yukine went through is very contagious to other regalias, and apparently she fell victim to that. So I definitely felt bad for her character, and so now that she's done Tenjin just once, she had to be let go. And I will say that right there is a bit extreme, but I feel that like Tenjin is a god that really can't get sting at all, so it does make sense. And now that she was gone, we saw that she went through the same thing as Yukine. But of course, she didn't become a phantom like he almost did. She was very apologetic and, and let her go. So I do feel like she could possibly come back. I'm not sure with like what god, but I don't think that we're going to be done with her just yet. I'm pretty sure every regalia that we have seen so far, no matter how big or small their role is in the series, I feel like we're not going to be done with them. But Mayu was saying, now with the new attitude, and especially with all the pain that Yato had went through, he should like swear on that name to protect her forever, which she did. And of course, that right there made Hiyori just so happy. And so now later on that day, we have Yukine who's studying with Hiyori, of course. She's like his teacher. We have Dagaku, bringing us some snacks, and Yato was there. And even though we didn't see it, it was hilarious the way that Dagaku was attacking Yato. That right there, which just cracked me up. But I do wonder, like, now that they are renting that room out to Yukine, will he be living there or will he still be sneaking into Hiyori place? because I do wonder, like what's he going to do? Because we all know that Yato, he barely has any money, which you can definitely pointed out earlier, and he did not have his own shrine. So I do wonder, where's Yato going to live? Because I see Yukine either living there or with Hiyori. One of them are definitely going to happen. But we see now, like when Hiyori was like with her friends, we actually learn of this new god that is slowly becoming popular, and that's Rabo. And of course, that's a character we've been seeing a few times, but we learned his name to the last episode. And apparently, this god Rabo, he'll make anybody you want disappear. And so that right there goes to show you that this guy is a serious threat. Now, I did know that he'll be some major role, but I didn't know that he'll be a god. And apparently he's like he like Yato as well. Oh no, I should say Kopaku, because I believe, well no, Yato is a god of calamity, so yeah, he's like Yato. And so now with him slowly on the rise and becoming popular, it's obvious that the present that he's gonna have. And so when Hiyori was like getting ready to hang out with her friends and Yato Yukine, because she also invited them, to come out there and hang out, we see that when she was walking, she actually crossed paths with Rabo, but of course she didn't recognize that. So once she crossed the paths with Rabo, we see that she turns around immediately, but we see that like Rabo is already gone. And now we see him and Nora standing on like this billboard, and Rabo here actually wants to kill Yukine, and that right there, really surprised me. But I believe it because she has, ties with Yato, so that could be why. But Nora definitely does not want him to do that because she was saying she could still be useful to them. So I do wonder, just because he's a new god, I don't see why he would want to, tie himself with Nora, because we all know what she is. So to me, it was definitely weird that, that he'll pick her for his regalia, because it's obvious, that what she is. And so now we have Hiyori here meeting up with her friends, and, she was saying that they might have others joining her later on, who we all know would be Yato and Yukine. And so now Hiyori here was the only one dressed up, and she definitely looked gorgeous, while her friends, they actually looked like they were sick. And so now that they were, enjoying themselves in this festival, and of course they were praying, we see that Yato and Yukine, they're actually doing this job where they have to clean out this doghouse. And this doghouse was definitely fancy, because it was like it was living in a mansion. So the people that he were working for, they were definitely rich. And for them to only, give him 5 again for the job, I feel like if they're that rich, they could definitely give him a little more. But we see that when Yato and Yukine were like doing that, Yato was the one cleaning, and Yukine was like, playing with the dog or carrying it, because we did see the dog on his back for like most of it. And so, once they're on the phone, and they had agreed to go meet up with her, we see that at some point it seemed that Yato was like already there. He was like walking away from her as he headed down these steps, and when Hiyori goes after him, we actually see that, her soul comes out, and she chases after him. Oh, I also forgot to mention that the advice that like Tenjin gave Yato about, fixing Hiyori, because he even says so himself that he had no idea how to do it, and that's why he like been putting off all this time, which is pretty obvious. But Tenjin was saying that perhaps cutting ties with her is the way that will fix her, because we all know that the 3 of them, Yato, Yukine, and Hiyori, they're like the 3 musketeers in the series. They are definitely always together. And I do feel like by Hiyori, being around a goddess regalia, it's like drawing on her own soul. And that's perhaps why she's always losing it, because it would make a lot of sense. So I do feel like Tenjin was definitely right. But at the same time, I feel like that these 3 characters, they really can't be apart, because we have seen them together for so long. It would just be weird if they just cut ties completely. But when Hiyori eventually, catches up with who she believes is Yato, we see that, it was just Nora, and somehow, she had laid out this trap for her, and now she actually wants to kill, or not kill, because apparently, I'm pretty sure if she wanted to kill Hiyori, then she could, but she like lured Hiyori into this trap, and now we see that she actually summoned these wolves, which I'm not gonna lie, they actually look pretty awesome. I was a huge fan of that. But now we see that Yukine and Yato, they were actually led to this place where there was a phantom that they had to take out. And I'm definitely glad to see, the teamwork that they now have between them. But when they took out that phantom, there were like several more. So it's like a small army of phantom had now gathered, and of course they had to slay them all. And the action scenes here, with Yato taking on all these phantoms, it was definitely awesome. I'm definitely liking that. Like the way that he was attacking them, it was pretty amazing. The animation, oh my god, it was so beautiful. But now we see that Hiyori, she has to, dodge all these wolves, and they were chasing her for a while now. They were like chasing her all night long. And we see eventually, she arrives on the rooftop of this building, and the sun's coming up. So all night she's been like running for her life, and for some reason, these wolves that they just dissolve due to the sunlight. So I do wonder, why was that? But we have Nora, who appears instantly, and she was saying that because of her, Yato has grown really weak. And for some reason, I just find it hard to believe, because we have seen him take on these phantoms. And of course, he fought off Bishamon. He was like infected with the blight, so I don't feel like he's gotten weaker. Like Yato's character had never been weak, because even though he was suffering, he was still giving it his all. But now Nora here wants Hiyori to like fade from existence, and we see that it's obvious that she clearly did something to her. But once Yato had took out all those phantoms, we see that Rabo was like watching for the entire time, and these phantoms that he just killed, they had become like miniature, like really small, and they went into this bag that Rabo here crushed. And so even Rabo here was like questioning, was this the full strength of Yato, or his current strength, because clearly he's not impressed. But once Hiyori is like back into her body and she says farewell to her friends, we have Yukine and Yato, who finally met up with her. But now, for some reason, Hiyori, she no longer remember them. So I'm not sure if maybe she's faking it so that Yato will like be alright, or perhaps Nora really did steal her memories. I'm going to go ahead and say that perhaps Nora took her memories, because that right there would just be more interesting to her, pretending to forget Yato and Yukine. So I do wonder, where this is going to go. But from the preview, we're going to have a good episode next week, because we're going to have Yato versus Rabo, and that is going to be amazing. So this episode, it was very good. The animation, beautiful. But the ending, it definitely left me wondering, what in the world is happening. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe. I would love to hear what you guys thought about this episode, so please leave me some comments as well. But as always, you guys take it easy, and I'll see you all next time.